Hey guys, so I've got a question for you. So, how are you leveraging the information that you have on current sales to create more sales for your fashion brand? So, for many of you guys, you're probably like, What is she even talking about right now? And that's okay. But what I just wanted to share with you guys is how important it is to really be using the information and data that you do have. So, your sales performance and creating a system and a process for you to continue to examine that to make sure you're developing the most saleable and profitable product that you can. So this is something that every major retailer knows, and it's something that I work with my consulting and coaching clients on, is really understanding how to kind of dig into and digest your sales information and performance. And so I'm just going to share with you guys a couple quick tips on how you can start going about doing this. If this isn't something you do, or maybe it is something, but here's some things, other things to consider. So first off, I recommend you doing a deep dive on your sales performance at least quarterly, if not monthly, where you are pulling out all of your styles and hopefully you have samples of them that you can use and look to. And you're pulling them out and you're literally ranking them, and you're ranking them based on your sales revenue by style. And then you're going to rank them again based on quantity sold per style. And it's really important that you look at both of those metrics, because sometimes a style is a great performer, but maybe has a lower price point where you've sold a lot of units, but it's not necessarily going to register in terms of like top of your revenue, but would register when you look at just total units sold. So you want to look at both, because they're going to give you two different kind of perspectives and two different opportunities to create future strategies to drive sales. So it's really important you look at it that way. And I always recommend that you have the samples out in front of you. There's a lot more information that you can kind of pull when you start looking at it, when you can actually touch and feel it, versus if you're trying to remember it, or even if you just have an image of it. So anytime that you can have it in front of you physically, it's going to be make a big difference for you as well, and just in terms of some of the takeaways you'll find. So you get all that out, and whether you create your line by yourself and you're creating and sewing it yourself, whether you are working with a manufacturer, or even if you have just working with custom customers and you're creating one-offs for your customers, this is still really important to do, because you still want to be able to kind of compare and contrast and look for trends. So once you have your styles kind of all laid out, I want you to look at the top 5, 10 styles and start looking for underlying trends within them. So think about, why do you think the consumer bought those items? What was it about those items that really resonated with them? Maybe it was a silhouette. It could be a color or a treatment. Maybe it was the price point. There's a lot of different elements. And so you want to look to and see if you can identify, was there a consistent trend across the board anywhere here that's going to give you more information? So what are those elements? What are those styles and those best performers have in common? And then look at them even with a closer eye, and what was it that you think the customer truly liked about them? So you want to look at your worst styles or your best styles, and then you also want to look at your worst styles, which I know isn't as much fun, but you can glean just as much information by looking at kind of your less than performers as well, because it's going to give you some guidance on things maybe you want to stay away from, or maybe you need to do a little bit better with in terms of how you're designing or creating, pricing, etc. So you also want to look at those bottom dwellers too. So what are the 5 or 10 styles that didn't perform for you? And are there trends within those styles that you can see and assess? So think about, what do those worst performers have in common? Were there styling, was there styling that consistently didn't perform? What was it about them in the eyes of the customer that made them not necessarily love those styles? So look at both of those, best and worst, and what I want you to start doing is thinking about then, what are your big takeaways? And think about 3 to 5 big takeaways that you've discovered from looking at both your best and worst performers, and how you can interpret that into your future line. So if you dwell on things in your top performers and you're seeing a clear trend that the color blue is really a great color for you, that means you want to continue to build into that blue. You want to understand why you think they reacted to blue, and how can you continue to kind of evolve that concept forward so you'll continue to see improved sales. On the flip side, if you say, hey, I can tell that anything that I price over $65 doesn't work well for me, you know that you need to bring your pricing structure down and make sure that you're not targeting those higher price points that your customer doesn't want. So you're also going to drive more sales because you're staying away from the things that your customer is telling you that they're not interested in. So it's a great habit to get into. It's something that I recommend any fashion brand do if they're serious about increasing their sales and driving more sales, because as you can see, your sales lead to more sales. As always, guys, let me know if you have any questions and if this resonated with you.